Welcome back to another episode of Divorce TV, and today we have Susan Cowe-Miller, who's usually doing a healing, but today she is our expert for our expert interview, and she'll also be sharing her story as well in person. And we're finishing with a lovely calming meditation from Sharon Stiles. But let's get on with the news. So we're starting with a Mail Online talking about Real Housewives of New York City, and the story's about Jules Weinstein, who finalises her divorce with ex-Michael 4 years after a bitter split. This is really sad, this one. See, she has been having this is months after her arrest for a very violent altercation, allegedly, with her ex. And the former television personality has been begging the court to modify the existing order, barring her from seeing son Jagger, 9, and daughter Rio, 7, according to The Sun. On February the 28th, her children were removed from her custody before Jules claimed a New York City judge awarded her sole custody in early March. She now wants the same decision adopted by the courts in the southern state. Weinstein's ex-husband is accusing the reality personality of having a dangerous drug addiction following her arrest for battery late last month. Jules's ex of 4 years claims that she's been abusing prescription pills, endangering both his and their 2 children's well-being. He backed up his statements by saying he's aware of her past problems with pills, notably the ADHD medication Adderall. If she tests positive for substances, Michael is requesting that Jules be ordered into a treatment program. Well, that sounds a very sensible move. Jules found herself in legal troubles after she was reported to have violently lashed out at her ex while exchanging daughter Rio, 9, and son Jagger, 11, in Florida last month. During the altercation, which took place in a parking lot, Jules allegedly licked Michael's car window before moving to the back of the car and hitting the vehicle with a baseball bat. Not great behaviour. And this is according to a source that spoke to Page 6. She then allegedly punched Michael in the face while their 2 children looked on from inside the car. The duo's messy divorce has been going on for over 3 years, with police called to their home in New York in 2016 and Jules taking out a restraining order on her ex. In 2017, Michael was facing jail time for not paying $135,000 in child support, rent and other expenses to the former Real Housewives of New York star. Each accused the other of spending money in overly extravagant ways rather than saving it for the kids. She's previously opened up about her lifelong battle with anorexia and bulimia, and after leaving the reality show, she recently said she didn't regret talking about it on TV. Eating disorders are a very secretive disease. I thought it would be really healthy, she said, and a big part of my recovery if I did speak about it. I always say secrets keep you sick. Speaking about it, then, I could do the opposite. This is what she told Bravo TV in October. So this is a really sad story, but has your divorce been triggered by or made worse by addiction? It's such a massive problem, and invariably, who suffers? The children. Now let's move on to the Mirror. We have a story from the Mirror, and this is about Katie Price. So Katie Price will get divorced from Kieran Hayler this week to marry Carl Woods, announces the Mirror. Rumours have been flying that the former glamour model has set her heart on heading up the aisle with her new lover, Carl Woods. The final papers for Katie and Kieran's divorce would leave the mother of 5, 42, free to marry the man of her dreams, 31. Katie and Kieran have been separated for 2 years since their highly publicised split in 2018. Previously, she was married to Kieran, Alex Reid and Peter Andre, but not all at the same time. Seemingly, the model has no qualms heading up the aisle for a 4th time, and hopefully it's 4th time lucky, this one, and apparently she wants to have more babies, so good luck to her on that one. So last story is another happy tale. Another happy tale where Sir Elton John has sorted out a rift that happened, we reported on fairly recently. And it says that, and this is Sky News, say that Sir Elton John and ex-wife resolve £3 million divorce contract dispute. Sir Elton John and his ex-wife Renata Blowell have resolved a reported £3 million legal dispute over an agreement not to talk about their marriage publicly. Ms. Blowell started proceedings against the star in the summer, accusing him of repeated and flagrant breaches of the agreement in his memoir Me and the biopic Rocket Man, both released in 2019. Fantastic film, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. Sir Elton broke an agreement the pair made when they divorced after 4 years of marriage in 1988 and had caused her to suffer mental health problems, she claimed. Announcing they had resolved the dispute, a spokesman for Sir Elton said, "The parties are happy to announce that they have resolved this case in a way that acknowledges Renata's need for privacy." For her part, Renata acknowledges that Elton has acted in a dignified and respectful way towards her in the last 30 years and has been always happy to help her. They will not be discussing each other or their marriage in future and will be making no further comment about the case. I love that phrase, that 30 years is being respectful and dignified. That's a great way to conduct yourself post-divorce. So we're now going to get ready for our expert interview, and we're going to be talking to Susan Cowe-Miller. So Susan is a member of the Alternative Divorce Directory, and she is a healer, and she has many skills. So we're going to have a little talk about what the different things that she does. And here we go. Susan, hopefully you can hear me fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Susie.
Excellent. So thank you so much. Quite short notice to be being the expert interview today. But I think it's a great time. Some of the viewers here will have seen you doing emotional freedom technique and a lovely meditation. So let's find out a little bit more about you, because you don't just do the tapping. You have something called matrix re-imprinting. Is that what it's called? Perhaps you can explain what that is.
Yes, I started off with EFT tapping, which led me straight away into matrix re-imprinting, which is it's a development. It's taken on by Carl Dawson, and matrix re-imprinting it's a development of EFT. When we're doing deep work with EFT, you see, emotional freedom technique works at 2 levels. And when this isn't the quick fix level, which is wonderful. This is at the deeply transformational level, when we're working through big stuff, not a 1 hour session, perhaps minimum 3 sessions or 6 sessions or 10 sessions. But matrix re-imprinting is when we with care and guidance, you step into the memory, the trauma, because the person will see, the client will be able to smell, touch, taste, almost everything to do with the upset. Let's assume it's not a huge trauma. That needs special handling, which I'm skilled to do, but you step into the picture and you are got full power, because we're working with energy, we're working with the subconscious, and we can tweak how we feel about the upset. It doesn't change what happened. I'm trying to think of an example. You have a memory. You have a memory that makes you feel angry or sad or disappointed or furious or terrified. So with careful handling, you've gone into this memory and readjusted it, and you've also taken the energy out of it.
So in a way, you kind of reframing almost changing the past. But can you? I'm really interested to find out how this relates to traditional counselling, which you said you also qualified to do. There's lots of different kinds of counselling. So perhaps you could take us through that a little bit.
Basically, I say was because I don't do much counselling, although I've got all the training. A person-centred counselling. Counselling is the talking therapy. We talk about it, we visit it, and I'm trying to. I prefer the energy work. I prefer releasing the trauma, the reframing, so that it doesn't have the same power. It doesn't have the same belt you in the face response. Whereas we can, with counselling, we can talk for a very long time. I was counselled for weeks. I was given extra counselling. I said, yes, please. But I was constantly talking about the same thing. And you're still holding the power that it has over you. I like the release. EFT is the most fantastic tool to reduce your stress levels, to lower the impact that the memory has, gradually to get it right down to zero. Because one of the important things to do with EFT and matrix re-imprinting is, and with my new work that I'm doing, is why hold on to the horribleness or the anger or the sadness? It's a choice. And when I realized that I had a choice, I could remove most of the impact of the stress I'd been through. I was gobsmacked. In counselling, you work your way around. That's how I say that I prefer the energy release work, the subconscious work. You know your own story. You can go into it in the snap of a finger with the proper guidance.
And for those who are looking at the name and what you do underneath you on the graphic there, they're probably thinking, what on earth is that? So can you explain what your title is, if you like, and what it means?
I'm a lifestyle prescriptions health coach, looking at emotions, belief, stress, social elements of one's life, and lifestyle elements all play the part in the root cause of a physical health sign. Now, I always, when I'm talking about the stress and working with EFT, with lifestyle prescriptions health coaching, someone comes with a sore back, they come with a sore knee, they want to know why. They want to know why they have this physical problem. They've been to the doctor, they've done X, Y, and Z. I maintain, we say that we get you to the root cause, the root cause that you know because of the body-mind connection. So lifestyle prescriptions health coaching is releasing the stressor. Once we know, I know exactly how to question someone. I'm not sort of going to be guessing is totally the wrong professional word, but I know if someone comes with a sore knee or a sore back or a pain in their eye or their skin's playing up, or their reproductive system is causing them concerns, I know how to ask them questions. And stress plays a huge part in how the body portrays its physical symptom. It's not an accident. The body's an incredible machine mirroring what's going on up here.
And that brings us neatly to obviously divorce, because a lot of people have immense stress through divorce, both men and women. And have you given any examples of what kind of stress that someone might be under that might be manifesting physically? Because sometimes people don't make the connection, do they?
Yes, absolutely, they don't make the connection. I've just finished with one lady who was in a very controlling relationship, and she was controlled. Her self-esteem was low. She had no self-confidence, and she had a very what's the adjective? She had a huge problem with her weight. It was a very big problem with her weight, that she took medical advice and procedures to do with her weight. Now she's a different lady. She came to me not to do with her weight problem at all, because that was dealt with several years ago. She gained an awful lot of weight, but I'm trying not to.
Basically, you're saying that she had the emotional trauma around her situation, which was preventing from her being the shape that she should naturally be.
Well, she was comfort eating on a grand scale, one can only presume, because she was very heavy, and took action and medical help to do with it. I was seeing her several years after, and she came with a different. She wanted Reiki, because I do Reiki, but with what's going on in the health world just now, I don't do up close and terribly personal Reiki. So I just did head, shoulders. So I did my EFT work with her. So she revisited her problem that she had, and I did a gentle 15-minute head and shoulders Reiki. So that's how I know all the details.
So had she effectively, she'd taken medical action against the weight, but ultimately there was she was still had a problem because of the stress of the situation, and through the kind of work you're able to do, she kind of fixed it at the core root.
Yes, we went back into the core root. Yes, the root cause.
And can you just say, Suze, because there's a QR code next to you, what happens if people use that QR code?
If people use that QR code, they go to my website, which is Hampshire EFT, and I have 3 areas of speciality, divorce being one, helping people with the stress of divorce, the physical body, and stress and anxiety and emotional trauma. So they've got and the opportunity to see very many EFT videos, etc.
Thank you. And we're going to talk to you very shortly about your own personal story, but we're just going to have a quick masterclass first, so thank you for that. So get ready for a little bit of learning, and it will be quite relevant to what I've just been talking about with Susan. So our lesson content today is, we're still on Set Sail from the divorce masterclass, and we're talking about intelligence. Now, I'm not just talking about the kind of intelligence that says, oh, let's try to stay out of court, because that's obviously an intelligent approach. We're also talking about the intelligence of making sure you do your homework and know what everyone does. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but I wanted to talk particularly about counselling and coaching, and also mentoring, because there can be confusion around that. So, for example, quite often I've had people referred to me and say, Susie, we think they need a counsellor. Can you suggest someone? Now, it may be that they do, but 99% of the time, that's not actually what they need at all. And also, as we were talking about with Susan just then, what kind of counselling? So, one of the fantastic ways to use counselling is when you want to go and just scream, shout, swear, let it all out with someone who's completely non-judgmental, completely impartial, and who and they're never going to tell anyone, and you don't then have to dump that on family and friends who are not the best people anyway, because sometimes they can actually fuel the fire and make it worse because they're emotionally engaged with you. So that's a great way to use a counsellor, because when you are angry and upset, it's very important to find a way to let it out. However, if you are like Jules in the news story, who's got bulimia, anorexia, drug addictions, you're talking about some serious deep stuff there. So then you do need to make sure that you're working with a counsellor. They may be a psychotherapist, for example. They've probably had many years of training. They're specialised to deal with the kind of the heavy stuff. And so it's very important to be aware of who you need and choose the right person accordingly. That's even just within the world of counselling. Also, as we've just heard from Susan, that for many people, you don't just have to do the talking therapy. You can use matrix re-imprinting. You can get down to the deep roots and really shift things, which kind of moves us a little bit also into coaching. So quite often I find that people, it's not that they don't, we all can benefit from counselling, but what they really need in the middle of a divorce is to move forwards. They're stuck. And the people who are particularly good at getting you unstuck are people who are trained as coaches. Again, there's many types of coaching. However, we certainly have a couple on the Alternative Divorce Directory. We've got Jane Parslow, we've got Jonathan Burston, and they will get people unstuck and moving forwards in the direction that they need, and making sure so that it comes from them. So a coach doesn't tell you what to do. They help you decide what's right for you and then help you to make the steps to do it. Now, when it comes to mentorship, well, let's take, for example, Ruth Driscoll. She's been on the show quite a bit. She's also on the directory. Now, Ruth, as someone who works with people who are in controlling, coercive relationships, she's not going to be spending a lot of time with you trying to work out whether or not you should leave someone who's hitting you. What you need is someone who tells you, how do you take that step safely? What kind of and how do you build your confidence up to be able to move forwards in your life, or to deal with that person as a co-parent? So that can be much more of a mentorship role. In the same way, my role, although I will use coaching techniques as a divorce strategist, I'm essentially mentoring. I'm not going to spend an hour talking to you about whether or not court's a good option. I'm just going to go, it's the last resort. I'm going to stand on the cliff with the flag going, don't go this way. These are better options. So it's more, I wouldn't say prescriptive, but it's much more navigational with a mentoring role. But with coaching, it empowers you to work out what you need to do and how to take action. This is your life. You need to take responsibility, and it won't be sustainable change if it doesn't come from inside you. So be intelligent. Do your homework. It just involves talking to a holistic range of people and experts so that you can choose who you actually need rather than just someone that someone else says you need. Now we can come back to Susan, and we are going to hear her shared story. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for coming back again. Such deja vu.
Not a problem. I'm a bit better prepared for this one.
So you're going to share in this short session here your own story, and I know that you've told it in a wonderful talk that I've showed in the past, but it's great to have you here live sharing with it, because it's pretty traumatic, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Well, we started a little bit earlier tonight talking about emotional freedom technique. And by the way, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk about this, because stress and anxiety and emotional trauma are very heavy subjects. And my brief resume, my first marriage, I was married for 27 years. And I was a primary teacher in those days, 2 children, and the marriage went very wrong, as some marriages do. Some marriages go very wrong indeed. My husband finally became an alcoholic, and it was very interesting because in those days, we're talking 2000, the year 2000, I thought that, and the children thought that I could do something about it, I could sort it all out. Eventually I realised that I wrote a book. I'm jumping slightly ahead. I wrote a book called Survive and Thrive After Trauma. And the most important line is in the back cover. And it was a choice I made. It was him or me. It's very politically incorrect. But it was him or me in the nut house. And I chose for it not to be me. So I went down the divorce route. And 5 days before my husband was due to leave the family home, he died of a heart attack. Which was extremely traumatic, and I've written quite a lot about that. I've written all about that. There's no point soft-soaping it. I've written all about that in the book. So that is pretty adequate stress. At a fundamental level, and I forgot to put my timer on, so do let me know when the time's about up. I understood that intuitively I had been under serious stress. And equally, I knew that it had to have some impact on my physical health. That always comes further down the line, because when you're living in a state of stress, whatever the stress is, I'm now getting on to the EFT and health coaching bit. When you're in a state of stress, your physical health only kicks in when the stress is over, because your body wants to rejig. So it can take a long time for specific things to become obvious, but your body goes into healing once a stress is over. So it's very important that you manage your stress, but also that if possible, if at all possible, you're using tools or techniques to help you manage your stress so that it's being reduced gently. Not fast and surprisingly, because the body gets shocked.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. So the idea that you should just suddenly switch everything off, you're not going to be stressed anymore, actually is not so unnatural that your body wouldn't like it.
If you think about going on holiday, some people have a mild, let's say a mild illness or not so mild. When you go on a holiday, you think, what the earth's this happening to me now? I'm on holiday, I should be relaxing. Well, your body's doing regeneration. But equally, if someone's an ex-head teacher that I worked with died 6 months after he retired, I'm not suggesting the doom and gloom that this is what happens to everybody, but it's a scenario. You've gone into a state of big relaxation, and underlying things are going on.
So what kind of things what kind of things happen to you when you say, when you realise physically that was a result of the stress?
My interests now are in the reproductive, female health. I've got a keen interest, and I'm specialising in female health and female intimate health, the stuff people don't talk about, because I have experience of certain things, and people, don't. If someone had told me X, whatever, I might have thought, oh, I see. But the belief systems, there's a lot of stuff goes on to do with the reproductive system. I'm thinking about trying to even have children. From the intimate area of our body, there are things that can go wrong that have other explanations, let's see.
So how did you? So you realised that there was a connection, luckily, between the stress and physical side of things. So in the last minute that we have, can you tell us how you dealt with that, and how did you get to the point where presumably you're no longer suffering from those things, whatever they are?
Well, Yes, it's very much in hand. And my lifestyle prescriptions and my meta health work, where I understand the mind body connection. I've worked with people, but it comes down to relieving, in my case, the stress, working with the stress, working with the trauma, clearing it out of the system. If you're holding it in your system, it's chronic health. It's not going to go away. Chronic health's repetitive, and the meds sometimes stop working. So it's it's hugely emotionally held, the subconscious energy at a cellular level, and it needs work.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. And I'm very glad that after all that trauma and the shit that life threw at you, that you turned it into something of such huge benefit to others, which is a theme, I think, on this show with many of the people that come here. Thank you so much, Susan, and we'll see you back on the show soon again, hopefully doing some of your lovely healings. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So deal with the root cause, heal, don't just let it fester, because it will catch up with you. So before we come to our healing for this evening, I'm going to have, or daytime, depending on when you're watching it and which country you're in, we're going to have a very quick roundup, another reminder of the workshop, which is happening on the 21st of January, and I'd love you to be there if you are at any stage of divorce, but especially if you're at the early stages. It's a fantastic workshop, and the people who come along to it find it wonderful, and it's online, so you anyone in it would certainly be useful to people in the US, but it'll be more relevant, shall we say, to those in the UK. So I'd love to do some US ones if anyone's listening. Our Family Wizard, again, this QR code will take you into what is a wonderful piece of software. It can really create fantastic boundaries with co-parenting and just practical stuff like knowing what everybody's doing. And this online calendar, there's a lot more to it than that, actually. And I do recommend that you try that if you are in a co-parenting situation where you've got to liaise over the children. So we're now ready for our healing. I'm going to introduce you to our guest for this part of the show. And I'm now going to welcome Sharon Stiles. Hello, Sharon.
Hello.
And I love the forest behind you.
Thank you. It's that time of year.
Yes. And yes, beautiful. And so what are you going to be doing with us today? First of all, tell us a little bit. I've put in healer, but tell us a little bit about what you do first.
So I use hypnosis, I use cognitive behavior therapy, I also use EFT, which I love, and I would just go along with everything that Susan said earlier. EFT, matrix healing, all of that sort of stuff. Sometimes you can't always work it out things with your conscious mind, so that sort of stuff is great. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I work with, changing people's mindsets. And I think particularly at the moment, there's so much stress on top of everything else as well. Anything that goes wrong at the moment, we're dealing with everything else as well. So we've just been going through ongoing long-term stress at the moment. So all those little moments of relaxation would just really, really help.
Lovely. So are you going to do a meditation for us?
I am. This one is based around trees because I love trees. I've always loved trees. Ever since I was a child, I remember sitting in the garden. We had an apple tree, and I remember sitting in the branches, lying in the shade of it. I remember the springtime with the blossom, the autumn with the apples and the lovely colours as well. So yeah, trees have always been really important to me.
Brilliant. So I'm going to leave you to it now, and thank you so much for coming on, and we'll have a very quick chat at the end, but deep breath everyone and enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, throughout history, people have had a strong physical and spiritual connection with trees. And studies have shown that being near trees does have health benefits. So today I'd like you to join me and enjoy the calming relaxation of trees. So close your eyes and focus on your breathing, feeling and hearing your breathing. And next time you breathe in, just open your eyes. And as you breathe out, close your eyes. And then again, breathe in and eyes open, and breathe out and eyes close. And now focus on my voice as you keep your eyes closed, because nothing else matters. The sound of my voice can take you into a lovely, relaxed state as you focus on my voice. And think of a strong, well-grown tree. It might be in a woodland. It might be standing on its own. Maybe in your local park or garden. It might be a deciduous tree or a conifer. And now imagine yourself leaning back against it and feeling the trunk against your back, the indentations in the bark, and its solidity supporting you. And reach your hands behind you and feel the texture as you run your fingers over the bark. It might be quite smooth, or it could have deep troughs in it. You might just be able to feel the bark, or there might be moss or lichen there too, with its soft fuzziness under your fingertips. And listen to the sounds around you as you lean against this tree. You might be able to hear a breeze rustling through leaves or needles, or branches rubbing together. Or maybe the air is still and quiet. And you look up at the branches above you, looking at the contrast between the branches and any leaves and the brighter sky. And notice the changing pattern if branches and twigs move, the colours and the tones, contrasting and blending. And feeling the temperature of the air on your face and the warmth in your body. And also become aware of any stress in your body, any stress in your mind, any tension, jumbled thoughts, unwanted feelings, bitterness, regret or sadness. And let those feelings flow out through your hands and into the tree. Let the tree take those feelings and neutralize and convert them. Let the tree take away those unwanted feelings. Because trees are part of our ecosystem and they bring balance. They take the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and they convert it to energy so that they can grow. And they give out oxygen that we can breathe in to give us energy. So we go together, balanced. The trees shed leaves and needles and dead twigs, which decompose to become part of the soil which nourishes themselves and other plants. And so they can shed your unwanted thoughts with their leaves and needles. The trees provide homes for insects, for birds and animals. They provide food for animals and humans. And they can provide warmth and shelter. And so they can provide warmth and shelter for you by taking your unwanted thoughts and bringing balance back into your life. Sharing their energy and bringing a sense of calmness. So let all of your unwanted feelings flow and fade into the tree. Just letting that happen as you relax against the tree. And in return, you let the energy, the strength, and the resilience of the tree flow into you. Breathing out carbon dioxide and unwanted emotions. And breathing in oxygen and calmness from the tree. Breathing out carbon dioxide and unwanted emotions. Breathing in oxygen and calmness. And so anytime you can close your eyes and imagine a tree. Or you can go out and stand by a tree. And breathe out unwanted emotions. And breathe in calmness. And so now I'm going to count from 5 to 1. On the count of 1, your eyes will open. You can be alert, awake, refreshed. Feeling really, really good. Calm and refreshed. So 5. Every muscle, every nerve, every fibre of your body feeling full of energy. Just feeling that energy starting at your feet. It goes up into your legs, into your stomach and into your chest. You can feel it going down into your arms, into your fingers. You can feel that energy just flowing through you. The energy of a tree. 4. Your mind is clear, it's focused, it's sharp and alert. Right up front in your mind is that knowledge, I can be calm and relaxed. 3, taking a deep, deep breath of clear, cool, fresh air. Just feeling that air refreshing your lungs, feeling good. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about other people. But most importantly, you feel really good about yourself. 2, again, just feeling that energy, becoming more alert, more awake, positive, confident and certain. And 1, eyes open, fully alert, fully awake, fully refreshed. And welcome back. And stretch.
That was lovely, Sharon. Thank you. I know I shall be doing that one on repeat a few times. I could literally feel the bark, the knobbly bark beneath my fingers. It's very powerful memories, and that I think all children who've had a happy childhood have at some point made friends with a tree. Thank you very much for coming on.
Power of the mind.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And so when I'll be tagging you in on the show and the different platforms, so I do hope you'll be popping on some links for us so we can find out more.
Certainly will.
Thank you ever so much. And see you again, hopefully again on the show. That was great. I'd love you to come back and do some more.
I'd love to come back as well.
Thank you, Sharon. So, leaving you calm and refreshed. We are, which I hope is of value, especially if you are actually going through a tricky divorce at the moment, because you probably don't get that as often as you should. So we shall now leave today on the thought that in the war of divorce, on the battlefield of family separation, always, always make peace your weapon of choice.